could turn on rocking motion, which is in the bassinet and smoothly, gently rocks the baby back and forth.
Right.
We can turn on soothing music or heartbeat sounds that mimic the sounds that the baby hears when the child's in the womb. And we could also additionally turn on some lights. And there are 2 different light settings.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of All the Smart Things, a video series from IoT for All, the #1 publication and resource for the Internet of Things industry. I'm your host, Ryan Chacon, and on today's episode, we have David Swartz, the Director of Sales and Marketing at TruBliss. TruBliss has built a product called the Evi Smart Bassinet that he comes on to kind of talk about the behind-the-scenes look at what the product is, how it operates, how it was built, why it was built, the unique feature set, the technologies involved, those kinds of things. Really cool kind of conversation to give you behind-the-scenes look at another smart product that is on the market and how it came to be. And I think you'll get a lot of value out of just learning about how this product was designed, why it was designed, why the features are the features, and just learning more from David about how this all came to exist. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode of All the Smart Things. Welcome, David. Thanks for taking some time to chat with me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ryan.
Absolutely. It's great to have you. I wanted to kick this off by having you do a quick introduction about yourself, just any background information our audience can get a better sense of who they're listening to.
Sure. My name's David Swartz. I am the COO of TruBliss Baby. Been in the juvenile industry for got to be somewhere around 35 years.
Wow.
Been selling and manufacturing and hit most of the, except for design and development, hit most of the sales related jobs in that industry.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the company that you're at now and the product that we're kind of focusing this conversation on, the Evi Smart Bassinet. Just tell me a little bit more about kind of the company's role in the space as well as the product.
So TruBliss we saw an opportunity in the children's bassinet market about 4 or 5 years ago, and we started to develop some bassinets specifically for clients like Bye Bye Baby and the .coms. We started to get some really good success, not just with our designs, but also with some really strong fashions that our designers were coming up with. During that time, we had the luck or the ability to get some of this new technology brought to us that was able to connect to smartphones and or devices like Alexa or Google Home. Right. And so we started to look into ideas, where could we use that technology? The connectivity was great. How would we make it work? So having grown up, or having 6 kids, having raised 6 kids in my life, one of the obvious things is when you have a brand new baby and that baby is either in your room in a bassinet or in another room in a bassinet, it starts to cry. Number one, sure, you can have a monitor and that's great to hear it, but what do? You don't want to go in. The last thing you want to do is have to go in and take the baby out of the bassinet, start rocking or patting, because it's really important for the child to learn how to self-soothe and calm themselves in the crib or bassinet. So this technology was fantastic. It allowed us to create a bassinet that parents could connect their cell phones and or one of their devices, Alexa, Google Home, so that you could do one of 3 things. We could turn on rocking motion, which is in the bassinet and smoothly, gently rocks the baby back and forth. We can turn on soothing music or heartbeat sounds that mimic the sounds that the baby hears when the child's in the womb. And we could also additionally turn on some lights. And there are 2 different light settings. The first is just a low, gentle, glowing light. So if mom or dad needs to go in and feed or just check on the baby, the light isn't shining down, which is where most of the features today on bassinets are, which can go into a baby's eye. These lights are below, down towards the bottom of the bassinet.
Sure.
And so it just gently lights up the area. So that's the first one. The second one is the designers came up with a brilliant idea. And after having 6 kids, and anybody with a child will tell you that the best way to calm a sleeping baby is to put it in a car at night and drive around. If all else fails, put the baby in the car, you bring it in the car. So when you are driving and waiting for the baby to go to sleep, there's street lights. As you're passing the street lights, there's a repeating pattern of coming up to the light, going to the light, and then going through the light. The lights on the bassinet are designed to go off in the same kind of repeating motion. So we'll start at one end, and it goes down steadily until it gets to the bottom and then comes back up. Sort of repeating that same idea that you see when you're in the car trying to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's super fascinating. Kind of understand exactly because when I was looking into the features and testing out the device, you see those features, but you don't necessarily get to understand how they were created and the intent behind them through the development of that. So sharing kind of those insights that the design team had when what they're trying to kind of replicate that experience is very fascinating to understand.
Yeah, loved it. We thought it was great.
Yeah, it's pretty brilliant actually. It's pretty very cool. So let me ask you, since you've been in the space for a while, how long has it been? Have smart technologies been kind of started to be implemented into these types of products? More the baby kind of. So I mean, obviously, I know the monitors and things like that. There's the connectivity aspects, but when you're getting into things like bassinets and other types of products, how long has smart technology kind of been kind of more mainstream?
Like anything with technology, every year it advances. So some smart technology has been around for a while, like cry detection, right? Where some units will hear a baby cry and some soft music or something will come on. What we've gotten into, as far as I know, has only been around for about 2 years. As far as we've taken it, I don't think there's anything else on the market that has the ability to reach out to Google Home and say, "Hey Google, turn on Johnny's rocking motion." So, and we have the ability to customize those. So it comes factory set to say, "Hey Google, turn on gliding or rocking motion."
Right.
You can set it to whatever you want. But that technology, as far as I know, has only been around for a couple of years.
Okay.
The connectivity with a smart phone or Google.
Yeah. And what other through your experience and kind of where we sit in the industry now, what are some of the key trends that you're seeing in the baby industry as it relates to smart technology?
So everybody has been trying to find something in terms of technology. I think the biggest advances that have been made, besides ours, because I still think we have probably the best advance out there. Some of these cameras and motion detectors, I think, have really come a long way and are doing a great deal. Now you can monitor your baby on your smartphone from anywhere. You could, the babysitter's home and you're out to dinner and you can check in on the baby. So I think that's some pretty cool stuff. And I know it's getting a lot of use. The problem that I see is that, this, and it's not really a problem. The sky's the limit. And in the baby industry, people seem to want to ramp things up to go out and get as expensive as possible. The idea is always you'll spend all your money on your children with products or toys. So we're seeing products out there that are $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. That are probably not necessary in some cases, but still, it's just going to keep ratcheting up and ratcheting
Oh,
up.
absolutely. I'd love it if you could kind of share with our audience a bit more about the story behind kind of the creation and bringing this to market. Maybe some of the challenges you all kind of went through or came across through the development of this product to get it to where it was kind of market ready. And the reason I'm asking is from our audience's perspective, a lot of them work in the IoT space, are very big fans of smart technology. So the more kind of behind the scenes they can understand as it relates to the development of any type of smart product, whether it's consumer facing or enterprise facing, they find a lot of value in that. And I thought it'd be really good to kind of hear from you as you kind of brought this to market. What were some of the challenges that you came across, how you overcame them, and then just generally anything you wanted to add kind of to the story of this becoming a product
Sure.
that is now available.
Sure. So the biggest challenge for us is or was we had always been involved in making, I guess, what you would call dumb products,
Sure.
right? So cribs and walkers and strollers and things
Yep.
that just did what they were supposed to do. Some of the higher level in terms of design development, our president, and we're a little bit older, so I'm 55 years old, so I was already not in a great position when I started in terms
Okay.
of technology and my knowledge of these
Sure.
things. So there was a big learning curve. We decided early on that because this was something so new,
Hmm.
we would really need to dive in and fully understand not just how it worked and what we needed, but what we needed to do to get it working right for the customer.
Right.
As a customer, now I'm not somebody that's in the market for a bassinet at 55,
Sure.
but I still wanted to make sure when I buy products uh, that are smart, so-called smart products, I sometimes struggle with how they work. And I know I get frustrated if the instructions aren't clear or
Mm.
if the assumption is that I'm a millennial and I should know all this stuff and I don't. So we reached out to the company that does all of our IT inside work here
Sure.
and
Right. Okay.
asked them to put us in touch with some developers and people that have had experience bringing things like this to market. And then when we met them, said, okay, make pretend this is going to go to somebody that has no idea how to pair it with their phone, how to pair it with their Wi-Fi, how to even set it up, and
Right.
what needs to be done. And then we want you to write as specific and dumbed down instructions
Yeah.
with hints and notes, and send it to us and let us see if we can get it working.
Yeah. Right.
And if we can get it working, then I know somebody that's 20 to 45
Yeah.
should be able to get it working.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes a lot of
go
sense, especially because as in this space, as we move more into the future and the generations are coming up to where they're having babies, they've grown up with technology. So these things are
Absolutely.
more, it's also probably a lot of things they're looking for. They prefer a smart product over a dumb product in a lot of cases because, when they were growing up, they probably didn't have that option. Like I know my parents didn't when I was a baby. So it just kind of uh, it resonates better with them because they understand it.
No question. No question. But our biggest goal was to make sure that people did not get frustrated after 5 minutes and say, you know what, I can't do it. Let's just return it.
Yeah.
So we worked for months on getting the instructions. We created videos online that we posted. Um, we have trained our entire customer support staff
Sure.
on how to connect. We've sent them all models and said, here, you connect it to your phone, you connect
Right.
it to the Wi-Fi, so that if a customer calls, anybody here can walk through a customer if they get stuck. And because it's technology, it's not always smooth. Things get stuck.
Absolutely. No,
One
go
of the
ahead.
issues we found was this is designed for 2.4 gigahertz
Okay.
Wi-Fi.
Right.
So we had to make sure that that was the first frequently asked question if customers couldn't connect. Are you
Yeah.
using a 2.4 or
Right.
are you on 5.0?
Right.
So it was a big learning curve for all of us,
Now,
but it was a lot of fun.
let me ask you though. So you do a lot of that work before the product goes live and to kind of have all the materials ready for somebody. How do you all handle that once the product's in the market? How do you handle that feedback? How do you make those changes and iterations to the resources and the stuff that you have out there to help support the usability of the product? Because that's something that's always kind of on top of companies' minds is once I get this out, like how do I kind of go back and make changes when I need to, not to the product because you can release a new version, but to the resources and collect that information from customers to
Yeah.
make the changes necessary.
That's one of the key things that we've done is we have customer service software
Okay.
that allows us to collect information
Right.
and keep track of everything. And so, after a month or 45 days of launch, we went back, we took a look at some of the calls that were coming in. We found that one of the issues was this 2.4 gig issue. And you just have to constantly be ready, willing, and able to take the information that you're getting, not just from customer service. We spend a lot of time online looking at reviews because customers that's a great place to find information out about your product. They'll tell you everything that you need to know there.
Yeah.
And so once you get that information, then if it's something that's an easy change, we can fix it ourselves. If it's something that's a little more technologically advanced, we reach out to our IT people and we'll talk to them and say, give us a fix, redo the instructions. We pop off the current PDF, put up the updated PDF with the new updated instructions, or make some notes or changes. And so it's just working in tandem with everybody all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a very important thing for companies to understand who are listening to this is it needs to be a continual iterative process with that stuff, and having a good way to not just collect and then analyze, but also make decisions internally as to what's important and what's not, whether it's a trend you're seeing based on feedback, whether it's, the amount of work that's going to go into it, how it's actually impacting things, and just being able to confidently make the right decisions to make changes to whether it's the resources or the next version of the product, whether it's a firmware, you name it kind of thing.
Exactly.
But super interesting. One question I wanted to ask you kind of before we start to wrap up here is, so this product is out now, obviously. What does the future look like? And you don't have to give away any secrets to future products, but kind of how do you think about the evolution of a product like this that has success in the market, and then you want to obviously build on top of and expand as you continue to grow customers?
Yeah. I think we have some really good opportunities to expand this category of smart products, working in other areas like possibly bouncers, possibly cribs, just taking not really necessary and reinventing the wheel, but taking the technology that we've developed, that we've now honed, and adding it to other products where it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, toddler beds, things, it really could be almost endless of places that we could go with this.
And in the baby industry, is it pretty common for people to be relatively loyal to a brand when they find a product they like, and then they have a kind of further line of products that are complementary kind of to what is already out there? Or how does that usually kind of done in that market?
So that's an age-old question that we've been facing in the baby industry.
Okay.
What we'd like to think is that people do favor certain brands. I think what the reality is that with the advent of the internet and e-tail shopping all over the place, it has become more and more price conscious, and the ability to get your product out in front of people on paid social media and places like that. And it's really a lot of it at this point is who screams the loudest. That's going to get your attention. It used to be, there were certain brands that mom and dad always bought. Fisher Price, Graco, those were the go-to. right? And now, if you went on to an Amazon, you would find 600 crib manufacturers.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is very different now than it was in the past, for sure.
It certainly is, and that's not always a good thing, especially in the baby industry.
It's a lot of safety concerns, in my opinion. A lot of it's hard to read through the noise being a new parent and trying to decipher through Amazon reviews or material on the website what is actually the best choice for my child.
So Ryan, that's a real big problem that we face here every day. There's probably a total of over 100 years experience sitting in the couple offices that are around me with people that make decisions. And we've been doing this for a very long time and know the importance of following guidelines and following specifications. If you went on Amazon or Target or some other websites, they are carrying products from companies that maybe they make a bassinet, but they might also make a microwave, and they might also make a bicycle for two, and just on and on and on, and have not taken a deep dive into this category, which is so critical for safety.
Yeah, their motives and business kind of focus is probably a little bit different, and I do feel, especially in this space, from my limited knowledge of this space, it does require an extra level of time spent researching and doing the due diligence because you have a much more fragile thing that's relying on you to make the right decision, right? It's not just which smart home camera are you going to pick. This is actually being used by a newborn child, which is a very different kind of thing than, who manufactures my smart home camera that, okay, maybe it's made by the Chinese and I have to worry about security issues, you name it. But this is something that I definitely think more due diligence is needed.
A bassinet and a crib are the only items in the juvenile world that are designed for a child to be left alone at long periods of time.
Absolutely.
So you have to really, really know what you're doing because you have a child's life in your hands.
Yeah. Oh, completely agree with you. But I think the product you created is a great one for the space, and I'm excited to see what future products you all release, especially as you're incorporating more of this smart technology into these products that for the past have maybe been more of the dumb products that you kind of mentioned. So very excited. Last thing I wanted to ask you is, for our audience out there who wants to learn more about the company, the product, even where to buy, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. Well, you can go on our website, www.TruBlissBaby.com.
Okay.
And our products are sold at the usual suspects. They're on Target. They're on Amazon, Buy Baby, Kohl's, Baby List, and the list keeps going.
Fantastic. Well, David, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much. We'll make sure we have all these links correct for our audience to learn more, can check in on the company. It's very cool to kind of, for them, I think, to have a face put, forward to hear from your mouth exactly what's going on your side of things. I think it builds a good relationship with the audience, and I'm pretty confident our audience is going to find a lot of value in this. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that episode of All the Smart Things with David Swartz from TruBliss and learning more about the Evi Smart Bassinet. If you're interested in figuring out where you can buy that, it's available at Target, Baby List, Buy Baby, Amazon, Kohl's, and there'll be a link in the description here as well. You can even go to their website to learn more. For any of you out there who have a product that you'd love us to kind of talk further about, or kind of be able to bring somebody on to learn about how it was created, why it was created, more of that behind the scenes look, please let us know. Feel free to directly reach out to me at Ryan at IoT for All, whether you have a product or you have one as an idea for us to be able to reach out to and try to get on the show. We'll be happy to do it. But other than that, thanks again for watching this episode of All the Smart Things. We'll see you next time.